Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Everybody, welcome to another episode of SRZ Podcast. My name is Turk, and I got Calster here. I didn't even ask your real name. What's your real name?
Just Cal.
Cal. Okay, cool. That's easier to put in the title of the video. What's good, Cal?
Doing pretty good.
I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, I haven't been able to swing by the stream. Most of your stream times are when I'm working, so.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I really do almost neglect my NA viewers and my NA friends, so to say. Shit me. So you play for the CRL. That's one of the topics we're going to discuss today. Can you introduce yourself a little bit to everyone?
Yeah, so I am a fifth-year college student in NA. I've been doing CRL since my freshman year. These days I haven't been in like the main bracket thing, but we still compete for fun and like there's a lot of like summer tournaments, spring tournaments. But the main broadcast you see is so saturated with pretty fucking cracked players these days. So it's it went from being like in its early days, it's actually really memed on for being like a champion league, and it was really funny. But these days, like even if you have a full SSL team, you might not even qualify. It's actually kind of crazy how
that's fucking cool.
It's crazy how much it's gotten and how big it's grown.
Fuck. Because honestly, I had a little bit of a meme thought about it as well. It's like when it first came out, like CRL, like really, bro, like high school kids, college kids gonna play Rocket League for tuition. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's gotten to the point where there's like actual like pro players right now, like going to certain colleges for scholarships so they can play in this league. Yeah,
like who?
I know he hasn't been on a team yet, but there was Rlcs who tweeted out saying SSG is currently looking for a college to go to together. Some of the like tier 2 pros like Lion Blaze, T Carell, they're currently at Northwood, which is where I have a close friend of mine that we run a league together. He's like the sub for that team right now.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah, but I don't know the numbers offhand. I'd have to find something, but you're making some decent money playing Rocket League, and there's schools like Akron. If anyone watches CRL, Akron, Northwood, those are colleges that have like actual esports facilities now that they can go in and play.
What do you mean by esports facilities?
It's basically like a big like arena where they just have a bunch of like gaming computers set up, where teams either can have team practice, so they can like schedule out times they can compete there. So like you have like a LAN environment, so you're competing in CRL, not against the other team on LAN, but you get in the fist bumps in and stuff like that.
Shit.
One of my friends even didn't even bring up his gaming computer to college. He's like, fuck, I'll just go to the esports facility and play down there.
That is cool as shit. See, this is one of the things I really envy about America. You guys really got that shit on a lockdown, bro. That is so cool. Like, that's the type of shit you don't really see in EU. I hope we do, because esports growing, but damn, bro.
Yeah, I know some people. I haven't been with the scene as much these days, because I've been more focusing on some last year's schoolwork and my internship now, but I know there's some people who are trying to push for CRL to move to EU as well, because they really want to see this expand and want to help out the EU bros, because there's a lot of talent in EU as well.
Yeah, of course. Because like recently, like I think it was in the last update, we finally had Indian servers.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Like that, I had a conversation with I think it was one of my staff in a Discord. It's like, why doesn't Psyonix help out, like, for example, Middle East a little bit more? Like, why don't they have their own fucking equivalent of Rlcs? You got like the EU side and the NA side. Why is there nothing for ME? Why is there nothing for Asia? Why is there nothing for like anything else? Africa? Like, there's talent there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's actually kind of thinking about it, because I don't know if you're familiar with the Valorant scene at all, but they have their Masters going on right now, so like their big LAN event. And they have teams from like Japan, Korea, Latin America, Brazil, and like this game just started. Like, granted, it's by Riot, who has been doing League of Legends pretty successfully for a while, but this game's been around for much less time than Rocket League, and they have all these regions where, I feel like Rocket League could really benefit from including.
I'm not a fan of Valorant. It's not my type of game, but you can't deny it's not a good game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't deny the devs or the company on its own that they're not out there looking for their players. Like I had Sam Cotto again, and I think this was off stream. We talked about it, and he's a game developer. He owns a game company, and he was very, very not surprised, but proud in a way, happy in a way, how reactive Riot is. Because every week, I think it was Kieran. Yeah, I think we talked about it with Kieran. He said like their dev blogs. Every week they have an update and they tell you exactly what the fuck they've been doing. Like, oh, this box over here, we moved this 2 inches to the left. This is why. Can you guys try it out? So they're really on point. They're as you said, they're helping Latin America. They got Brazilian teams. They got Japanese teams. Like that's some cool shit. That's you expanding on the esports. I wish we saw that shit in Psyonix, man. I wish we saw that shit in Rocket League because I promise you bring the CRL into EU, it's gonna blow the fuck up.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's gonna blow the fuck up. It's amazing because you said something like you said they make good money too, right? So is that on top of their scholarship? On top of their what is it called? Scholarship, tuition?
Yep, scholarship. So yeah, tuition is what the students have to pay each year to actually attend the school.
Of course.
And then scholarships are any money given to by either the school itself, any financial aid, any programs that they do that provides money. So in this case, being the Rocket League esports for certain colleges, they provide money as like a benefit or not entitlement, but something to make them want to go there, basically.
Mm-hmm. But is it like on top of the scholarship? Is it something that you could like? It's like 50 grand a year. Like, could you make a living out of it?
I'd have to look at the prize pools. I know 3 years ago, you definitely couldn't make a living out of it. It was more of like a kind of just for fun and some pocket change. Like, I think each like player probably got a couple grand in their pocket. But I think the prize pool is definitely growing these days to the point where it's getting better to be able to pay your school off by doing this. So I think depending on the school and like how, because basically each school you go to has a different tuition price. So my school that I go to, compared to say Northwood, the one that's actually providing scholarships, Northwood's tuition is a lot more expensive than say my school's tuition. I'd have to get my friend's numbers on it, but it's something like a $15,000 to $20,000 difference sometimes, depending on the school. And there's also different things where if you're like an in-state student, so if you have residency in a certain state, you get cheaper tuition than say if you're coming say from across the country to a certain college. You'll have to pay more.
American states are weird as shit. Like what the fuck does that make? Well, why? What's the fuck?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I've been living here for 22 years. I couldn't fucking tell you why they have in-state, out-of-state tuition, other than just to fucking milk you for more money.
Okay, two questions pop up in my mind instantly. Number one, how do these schools pay this much money for people who want to play a video game? Like, why the fuck would they do that? That's number one. And I forgot the other question. Just how? Like, is it just a budget they set aside for it? And why would they?
Probably budget. They honestly, with how capitalist America is, colleges are finding a way to make money. And I feel like this is literally just their way of investing into a brand new scene to potentially get like sponsorships and like build up, basically at the end of the day, they want more students they get in, the more money they get.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially with how fucking expensive tuition is. God, I will not rant enough about how expensive college is.
Dude, like we got problems over here with our student loans and shit over in the EU, but when I hear stuff about America, dog, like holy shit, that's like a couple 100,000 sometimes. It's fucking scary.
I've been blessed enough to have good financial aid and be able to not have to take out as much loans. But even so, after this year, which will be my 5th year, I'll probably have somewhere around $30,000 to $35,000 of debt, and that's like kind of the low end.
Yeah.
Compared to some of my friends, I had a friend who graduated in 4 years at a different college, and I think he's around $60,000 to $80,000 in debt right now.
Fucking hell.
It's rough.
Fucking hell. I remember my other question, by the way. It was so let's say I'm an American citizen and I'm going to college and I want to study let's bioengineering, right? And I just find out that my university or college, sorry, has an esports team. Can I just be like, hey guys, I want to play Rocket League? Like what like is there like a qualifier? Is there like hey, what's your rank? Like how many hours do you have in the game? Like how does that go?
Yeah, so obviously my college doesn't handle esports scholarships, so I can't say how it would be for scholarship wise. But for my college, we're kind of like accept anyone who wants to play, and then depending on how we want to compete, we run like a boot camp and tryouts for people for at least for Rocket League, because Rocket League's our biggest esport at my college, just because I brought it up from the ground up. I was pretty passionate about it my freshman year, and it was like my niche thing to do, because I wasn't a big like party or anything like that. But I just fucking loved Rocket League at the time. That was back in my diamond days. So I made a bunch of friends this way, and went from being like one of the smallest clubs on campus to one of the biggest clubs on campus. So it was a huge thing for me. But yeah,
shit.
Yeah,
that's some gangster shit.
Yeah, so I mean, how we do it, we just anyone wants to sign up, and then we can. There's no limit on how many teams you can sign up for these like competitions. So some of these big schools have 5 to 6 teams competing. Granted, the lower you get on like however the naming scale, the less competitive they're probably going to be. But in the early days, it was definitely something really fun for even casual players to play against other colleges. Where now these days it's a little bit more like competitive, more saturated with high talent.
It's okay. This is really interesting because you brought it up from the beginning. So how did that go? Did you just go up to the principal and be like, "Yo, listen, I can make you money"? Like, how did it? That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's less of making money. So how my campus does it is anyone can make a club. You just need a bare minimum of 5 members, and you can basically. We have a kind of like a website for our college that you sign up your club, and then people can go on that website, see all the list of different clubs offered by our university. So we have clubs for like almost anything. We have like people that build like model rockets. We have like board game club, other video game clubs, people that want to play like ultimate frisbee club. Name it, and there's probably a club for it at my school.
Ultimate frisbee?
Yeah, have you ever heard of ultimate frisbee?
What the fuck is that now?
Think of like have you ever seen American football before?
Yeah.
Think of it kind of like that, but with a frisbee. And
that's amazing.
And, yeah, you basically can throw the frisbee down the field, someone can catch it, and you can keep throwing it back and forth, and basically until it.
Cool shit.
Yeah, in case you're basically trying to go from end to end to try to get points.
Oh, that's cool.
It's super active, but it's super fun. But yeah, and then once a frisbee drops to the ground and no one catches it, then it switches. The other team gets to take it and then try to go back and forth.
That's such a good idea. That sounds really fun.
So yeah, that's called ultimate frisbee.
Ultimate, that's cool as shit. Hell yeah. Okay, so you started out as a club, put it on a website, and then just people flocked, or did you like try to like pamphlet flyer?
Yeah, we did kind of like the pamphlet flyer. So how our college is set up, there's like a certain area where you can advertise your clubs. It's called tabling. You basically sign up for a table, and then it's basically up to you. How do you want to advertise it? So we printed out some posters. This is more my mom's idea, but she bought me a bunch of these like mini, like the little like race car things where if you wind it back, then it goes zooming around. So anyone who wanted to come up, we just handed them one of these little model cars. Hey, come play Rocket League. And I think she also got like the Rocket League ball, but like super small, like plushy thing. So we always had like the car set up in like the kickoff order. with these small little cars. Like, hey, come play Rocket League. This is what you can do. I also had like my laptop of there was like some Rocket League montage we just put on and show people like that maybe like played a little bit, that are like more casual and haven't like seen high level play, or people that never played before, and so they just come around, watch the video, and then see if they're interested, and they'd sign up, and then we get them into our Discord, and then depending from there, if they just want to stay casual and be it more of like a looking for friends kind of group, or if they wanted to actually compete. And I think generally we've been able to get at least 2 to 3 teams to compete every year.
That's pretty fucking cool. That's such an American thing to have, like those tabling stuff, to have like clubs at a college. Bro, we didn't have clubs, Mike. We had police at the front door at my college. We had metal detectors. Like, we didn't have clubs and shit. They forced people to come there on like open days, but would like try to get people into the college or the university. They forced people there. Like, if you don't show up to help us out, you're gonna sit out this year. Like, you're not gonna pass. It's like, fuck, okay, I'll come. And the American culture is so different. I like, a part of me, like on a grand scale, it's cool as shit. I wish that was more of a cultural thing over here. But on a personal thing, I'd be like, "Go fuck yourself! I ain't doing that." Like, we're not. Like, I'm not gonna be there. Like, I've spent 9 hours there today, bro. I'm not gonna spend another 2 hours there fucking around with people. The cool as shit. I didn't know you brought it up from the ground, man. That's cool. You should be proud of that.
Yeah, it's something I was very glad, because originally I wanted to go into like a bigger campus school. So at least how it does it in my state, we have like one big school, and then it branches off in the similar name, but all of like the schools around it are much smaller. I tried to get in the big school, but I was too dumb for it. In the simplest way terms, we have like a bunch of standardized tests you have to take, and if you don't reach a certain score, they're like, "Yeah, we're not even going to consider you." So,
shit!
Yeah, I was like, "Well, I'll go fuck myself then." Sorry, I'm not an art student. No offense to the art students, but yeah, there's certain programs in that school that's like, yeah, if you're an art student, you need this score. If you want to go into like science and engineering, you need this like ridiculously fucking high score. Like,
you wanted to go into?
Yeah, I want to go in computer science, which is kind of science, but kind of not. But they're still like, go fuck yourself. So it's whatever.
Okay, cool, bro.
Yeah, I went to their little brother's school basically. So
for the less desired people.
Yeah, I could go on a rant with how the big school treats the little schools, but
go for it.
I'll save your full. Basically, fuck it. More going back to tuition, at least how our school system does it. The fucked up thing is, there's a chance that the tuition that I pay for my school, there's a chance, and I don't know like the slim details, but there is a chance that none of that money actually goes towards my school, and it goes towards other schools.
The war in Afghanistan.
not that extreme, but basically, like, the main school controls all the funds of the smaller colleges, because it's the one big university system. So they kind of control where the money flow goes, and a lot of the times my campus gets pretty fucking screwed over, and it kind of sucks, but it's not to the level where it like super affects me personally. But you know, it especially with how much I built up this club and kind of representing this university, it sucks a little bit to have your school that you represent get a little fucked over there.
Yeah, you said it's your last year at college. Now, once you graduate, what's gonna happen to the club? Is this something you can take with you?
Probably not. I have a good set of staff that I've built up over the years, that are younger than me these days now, that I'm able to kind of pass the torch on to them, let them to continue to keep building it up, because at the end of the day, the club is pretty much more tailored to our personal university, as you can't really like sign up for different under different school names, For CRL, you had to play whatever college you go to. You had to play with the students at that college. So stuff that I built up is more tailored to the university here, and it's grown pretty well. And I'm confident that the people that I have under me will be able to take it on and continue to grow it up.
So at your school, right? You got the club. You don't have the facilities for it, did you say? Correct? No. So it's more of like I don't want to say fan club, but it's just like a hobby club then.
Yeah, but that's honestly probably the best way to put it. Is like this is something that students kind of do it for fun in the free time. We're not like officially sanctioned by the university, which though I did try to get us officially recognized, but
yeah, I was about to ask that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the year that I made good progress on this was when COVID hit, and basically our school basically completely shut down in-person stuff, went online only, and it kind of killed any plans we had because the money budget sank that hit the university after that. They're like, yeah, we'd be interested in making facility, and then COVID hit, and they're like, well, we don't have the money anymore. Sorry.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. How much do you think you'd need for a facility like that?
I'll be honest, I have no idea. The nice thing about it was they already had plans to renovate a certain building on campus to be like a more wellness center, and
what?
It basically kind of like a workout slash.
Sorry, my head went to spas and like fucking. Okay.
Nah, it's more of like kind of like a workout facility, but kind of more low key. But they're like, yeah, we would be willing to throw in like a esports section in there. But at that point, they had to cancel that project. And
what state is this in?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, Northwood.
Yep, Northwood is in Michigan, so it's like 2 states over, past the Great Lakes. If you're familiar with any,
I know of the Great Lakes. I know it's somewhere up north.
Yeah. So yeah, basically my state is right next to Lake Superior, which is the biggest Great Lake.
Okay. So if people were to sign up, they have to be from Northwood, correct?
Yep. So if they wanted to play for Northwood, they would have to go to Northwood. If they wanted to play for my college, our college is called University of Minnesota Duluth. So they'd have to be officially signed up to take classes, and you have to take a certain amount of like credits. I don't know how they term classes in Europe, but basically you have what's called credit hours. So certain classes are worth a certain amount of credit hours, and you have to take, I think, at least 12 to be considered a full-time student. And basically, the best way you can kind of describe credit hours is how many credit hours you're taking is basically how many hours of classes you're taking a week.
Yeah, it varies from country to country, because over here we got something called study points, for example, in the Netherlands. And most of your study points usually come from the assignments that you get at classes, but sometimes you can do shit out of class to get a certain study points, and then you can be like, oh, look, I got enough study points to do my exams. I'm not going to school for the last 3 months, for example, because you just don't need them. If you know you can pass, you can just be like, oh, cool, I'm done. Let me just have like a holiday or like do something else for the remaining 3 or 4 or 6 months, and then just come back for your exams, do your exams. If you pass, you pass. You got your diploma, your degree. So it varies a lot from country to country over here. But that's cool. So technically, because you got people going to college that are, for example, like 35 years and older, so technically they could sign up for a college league as well, right? That's cool. That's really fun.
Yeah, you don't see it a lot just because of social normities. Most of those people that are older don't want to sit around and do shit with a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
But I'll go off a tangent. This is more separate from my college stuff, but we've been over the years. I think we're just getting close to a year, but we've been creating more of like a state league. What's called Minnesota Championship Series. I don't know if I've advertised it in your chat or anything. Probably haven't.
No.
But but yeah, this is something that I work on with a bunch of people. One of them, including my friend who goes to Northwood. That's the substitute. That's my main connection with him. But we basically have a league that's basically all players within a certain mile radius of our state. So we have mostly Minnesota players, but we also have some players from like the surrounding states. So it's more of like a Midwest league, and in like the terms of geography. But it's basically like we have people within a certain radius that can compete in an online league, and then we have like LAN finals. So we just had our first LAN finals.
Bro, how the fuck do you fund all this shit?
So in this case, we reached out to like local companies to see if they could sponsor us with monetary value, and then we'd in terms advertise their brand at our LAN tournament. So we have like certain PowerPoint presentations that we give to certain companies to try to convince them to basically give us funding for free advertisement. Because I mean, realistically, we do reach like to sometimes 50 to 100 viewers on Twitch. We had over, I think, 150 people show up to this LAN event. So it's, they don't give us a lot of money, but they give us, a lot of our community for this league is a lot more paying jobs. Because a lot of us are in the tech industry. So a lot of it's self-funded. I think
that is very reasonable. I expected a way higher number.
Yeah, because I mean, we got a pretty low-key venue because this venue is already filled out with a bunch of PCs because it's like a kind of gaming cafe down in the like our main cities. So we didn't have anyone bring their computers. We just had the setups all there, and then how we had it set up. So instead of having everyone play at the same time, we were basically this was like our playoffs. So we had our top 6 teams for each league, or top 6 for our main league. It's basically broken into 3 different leagues. We have like our top tier, middle tier, low tier. So 6 teams from our top team played at LAN, 4 teams from our middle, and then the finals that our bottom league played at LAN. And then we just kind of had a rotating schedule through. And yeah, it was a super sick event.
You fucking Americans. You guys are so entrepreneurial. I can't say the word, but you guys are go-getters, man. I swear to God. Good on you, man. That is really cool. Like I want to do shit like that too. I would love to do shit like that. And with how close everything is to each other in Europe, for example. Netherlands is like the hotspot for everything because we're right in the middle of all the big countries. You got Denmark and the rest of Scandinavia up north. You got England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland on the left. I'm not naming Wales. Fuck them. You got Belgium, France underneath you. You got fucking Germany on your right. Like, it's the hotspot. And Twitch, for example, does TwitchCon usually in Amsterdam? It's because it's the hotspot. Man, I would love to be able to do stuff like that, but it's really hard to get funding over here because one of the things that again, culturally, Americans are more okay to spend their money. In Europe, people are a little, I don't want to say greedy, but they're less reluctant to spend their money, whether it's a company or like something in private industry. It's really hard to get a sponsorship over here, and especially with all the different languages. Obviously, when you reach a Dutch company, you're like, oh, hey, you want to advertise my shit? They're like, well, we're the only Dutch-speaking country. What's the reach? And in America, you got like 350 million people that just directly connect to one another. And I wish I had the chance. Good on you guys. That's really cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, I'm pretty sure we're the only state to have done this so far because I haven't.
Are you going to continue all this after your college? You should.
Yeah, I'll do less of the CRL stuff, but a lot more of the state league stuff because we've been growing pretty solidly. Because we're at the point where because we have 10 teams per league, and we're to the point where our top league is 2/3 all SSL players within it's like a 300-mile radius of Minnesota. So our top league is getting competitive enough to, people watching. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. Obviously, it's not going to be the same scale of RLCS tier play,
of course.
but You got a lot of good talent.
Anyone notable?
Probably the only notable person would be my friend Ambrosia. He's like the big founder, and he's the one I've been working with. But he's also, if you saw the like Gift Your Game goal of the years, he got I think 4th place in that with a pretty cool clip, and you could see Twitter crying because it wasn't a freestyle clip. It was like an actual like ranked. You'll have to go back and watch. It's like a pretty fucking sick clip. He like goes up the corner, catches the ball, gets like a flip reset musty, and like lands on the thing. Turtle flicks it up, like pass one in like an SSL lobby. It's
Holy
fucking
shit!
It's fucking bonkers. Like playing with that guy for a couple years now. He started off on console for the longest time, and he just got a PC like. God, it's probably like 2 years now that he got a PC. But yeah, this man, like the shit that he does with his mechanics reminds me of like I just look at it as like we're like, you know, the same age. What the fuck are you doing? Like, how do you look so goddamn fluid with this shit? Like, there's like no one else like him. He's taken a little bit step back because he's never wanted to compete professionally or anything like that. That wasn't his thing. But he just loves having fun. And honestly, for a lot of us people that are like kind of towards the higher level, this like league that we've been playing in, hosting, and growing is probably the only reason I still play Rocket League these days, to be honest.
Are we really gonna have that conversation again where we talk shit about Psyonix? Because it feels like we're gonna talk shit about Psyonix again.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me personally, it was I went pretty hard for a long time for trying to get as good as I can. But I'm someone who definitely burnt myself out pretty quick. I competed in CS:GO before Rocket League, so I was, even when I was younger in middle school, high school, I'm hard grinding CS:GO, and then I burnt myself out. Let's find a new game to grind. Oh, Rocket League's fun. Played it casually at first. I was like, you know what? Let's see where I can go. I made connections, got on a good team, and then grinded up for 2 years. Got semi close to the bubble scene. The bubble scene is so saturated. It's kind of hard to draw the line where you call it the bubble scene.
Yeah, it is very saturated.
Yeah, I mean, I had my stick run it. I don't know if this was a while back now, but this is like a grandpa talking about his golden days. But we had like a run for a tournament called the Spring Series. This is when like COVID first hit, and they had to cancel the Rlcs LAN in Dallas, and then they hosted this tournament called the Spring Series, and then you had like the main qualifiers, and we made it pretty far. I think we got top 36, and that was with pro teams like in that bracket as well. Mm-hmm. We ended up we're like one game away of getting B+ in 6 mans, like an auto promo, which would been super helpful. I probably would have kept playing had we got that, but we had to face an Rlrs team, so competition was high. We got them to like I think game 4, but they were
pretty decent.
They were pretty good.
Yeah,
but it was at that point.
Shame when you hit a good team that early.
Yeah, because we looked at like some of the other teams that like we've scrimmed before. I was like, oh well, those are both teams that we've beaten in scrims before, but they're facing each other. Where we had to fucking face, and our other team was like, oh, I'll just go fuck myself, I guess. But, well, it's luck of the draw, whatever. We actually had a pretty sick lower because how they did it in like it was like day 1, day 2, day 3. And we got pretty unlucky with our matchup at day 1, so we went to losers bracket pretty early on. But we won something like 14 games in a row in the losers bracket, because there was a lot of teams that it was just like thousands of teams that signed up for this. It wasn't some like RLCS top 128 thing where you go in, and then even if you're in the losers bracket and you make top 128, you go back up to the uppers. This was more like a gauntlet style where if you're losers day 1, you're losers day 2, you're losers day 3. So we went through a lot of teams, and some were close, but we were kind of peaking on the days. We made it pretty far.
I mean, I've hosted very, very, very small tournaments, and just hearing that losers day 1, that sounds like a fucking nightmare, bro. Imagine managing that shit. You can't pay me enough to do that. Hell fucking no. No, I'll take the L. I'll just do something else. Hell no.
Yeah. There's fucking. I'd have to look at it, but there was at least 1,000 teams that signed up.
And this is threes, including subs. You'd have around what? Probably 4,000 people-ish. God damn, I go crazy with 50 people around me. Fucking hell, all those stupid questions that you get.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, especially in my early tournament days, there's so many people that like try to pull dumb shit. And it was some of these like young players that are just so stupid trying to get a win. It's like, congrats, if you like somehow miraculously pull off a dumb shit like rule win off of us, you're gonna fucking get shit on the next round because you're gonna play someone better than us. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I literally had an argument with someone, and this was like, this was like 2017, 2018. Someone tried to convince that we had unlimited boost on, and they didn't. That was the dumb kind of shit I had to argue. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just not how this shit works. It was so stupid.
Did you show him the replay?
I didn't have to. They're like, that's not how the fucking settings work. You can't put unlimited boost for one team and not the other. This is not how the fucking game is programmed. Just come with a better fucking argument. Holy shit. Oh my god. Some people.
Like, the thing is, we've gotten to a stage where you can't tell if someone is actually that dumb or they're trolling.
Right.
Like, you can't tell, because like if they're trolling, you can go along with them. Be like, yeah, bro, we did that, you know? But you're like, he sounds fucking convinced. Like, he sounds genuinely convinced that I'm doing that. It's like, no, you can't do that, dumbass. We can't even pause the fucking tournaments, bro, let alone micromanage settings like that.
Yeah, I feel like it was because they were really fucking bad. So I feel like it was a case of, you know, we're like a high champ team at the time, and they're like a fucking gold team trying to do something with their life, and they're like, this guy's flying in the air. What the fuck? It's just fucking. It was mind baffling at the time, and there's so many people like, no, we want like. Because we did most of the turns were through Smash.gg, so you know people can like refute the scores. So I had to get in a very nice habit of screenshotting every game and recording every game just to make sure if anyone tried to pull some dumb shit, it's like, bro, I have it recorded, and they're like, oh, sorry, never mind.
That's the first lesson you learn when you're gonna compete. That's the first lesson I learned when I competed. Notably, I never got anywhere half decent. Let's make that fucking clear. But man, the amount of people, like I had people trying to Photoshop their screenshots. People are really desperate. And it's like you said, it's like, bro, you're going to face tougher opponents than me. Like, this is first, second, third round. You're gonna face people better than me. You're not going to get away with this. Like, not only are you fucking yourself over, but you're screwing up for everyone else.
Right.
Take the L. You're not competitive. You just want to win.
Right.
It's a big fucking difference.
Absolutely.
Fucking crazy. I remember was it the first or only? I don't remember if I tried to compete in the second RLCS, but I remember the first RLCS we competed in. It was me, a friend, and some guy I know. I keep forgetting the name of. And the players were so fucking bad. We were one game away from the LAN. I was one game away from the LAN. If we won the last game, we would be on the first LAN of Rocket League. I sometimes think it's like, how would my life look different? Because you're gonna make a lot of connections at LAN. You're gonna connect with people. You're gonna talk to people. Like, who knows what would have happened? It's pretty cool. It's pretty stupid I didn't try to go much further after that. Because after that, I gave up on RLCS. I was like, let me try actually getting a little bit decent in the game before I even try to do that. And I just like kept moving away from it, and I picked up the coaching. But if anyone here wants to compete in anything related to esports, let me tell you right now, bro, the first lesson, screenshot everything. Record it if you can. Like, you're gonna be very thankful. It's nuts. People are nuts. They're desperate.
To the point, I started live streaming all the games and like tournaments because at the time I had a pretty good computer for it. And you know, people always wanted to watch me compete, so I'd always have super good viewers when I'm competing tournaments, and then I generally didn't stream outside of that much just because viewership was low, and I didn't care to grind Twitch that much because at the end of the day I didn't really want to see myself in like a content creation role. But it was always fun to see get donation subs for people supporting me when I was competing, because when I was going hard in the game, we're competing in a tournament every night basically, or scrims every night, and it's free content for people to watch.
I think most people don't realize how much you have to spam games if you want to be competitive. It's not just like, oh, I got good, now I'm going to go for all. It's like, no, you're not. You need that experience. That ranked shit, none of that shit's going to work, bro. None of it. It's, you got to spam games, you got to spam smash.gg, I think it was. And then you have, what's the other one called? You got a title of that in game. They got a blue-white logo. Huge. They did CSGO shit as well.
ESEA?
ESL.
ESL.
Like, you got to spam ESL. You got to do everything. You got to get your name out there, get as much experience as you can. People don't realize that.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to make really good connections early on, because I think this was like season 9, season 10 of Rocket League when I was competing in like some leagues. I met some good people for coaches and for like our manager, and they ended up coaching. They were like a manager for like a 1700 team at the time. And they're like, you know what? Hey, if you want to be a sub on this team, I'd be more than happy to help you and grow you up. And then pretty early on, one of their members had to quit just because he didn't fit well with the team. They're like, you know what? We're going to try you in the main roster. And I think it was at that time where I got as good at Rocket League as quick as possible, the fastest, when I was able to play with, I'm this fucking champ 3 nobody playing with these, 1700 GCs way back before SSL was a thing. And like that's when I started like having fun with the game. This game.
That's
like,
where I met you, no? Or just after that?
It was probably just after that.
Yeah, because I remember you introduced yourself to me when you were 1700-ish, and then you grew a bit more. I remember that, yeah. It's like the thing is, most people think though, like again, there's a lot of generalization happening. Most people think that if you play with higher ranked people, you will therefore grow faster. That doesn't apply to everyone.
No.
You got to actually take in all the information that you're being shown, and if you can do that, sure, you'll grow faster. But most people aren't able to do that.
Yeah, we played. It helped. We played a lot together. Our chemistry fit pretty well at the start of it. We're getting coaching. Every other night. We're competing tournaments. This is the time where if you look on Steam, you can see like recently played how many hours in the last 2 weeks. This was fucking 120 hours in the last 2 weeks, kind of grinding. I like. I don't know how I fucking got B's in school, dude. I like did homework, showed up for exams, maybe semi-passed the exams. I just,
That's why I didn't go to the bigger school, bro. That's
yeah. I don't know. I'm really good at the best way I could put it. I'm really good at being average. The wise words of my physics teacher in my senior year of high school. This is like we're going on to graduate and go to college. He's like, you know what? I have some life advice for all of you guys in here today. You will always be mediocre and never forget it. There will always be someone better at you at whatever you're trying to do. You will always be mediocre. I still remember that shit to this day. I was like, damn, I'm really good at being average.
Bro, you got bitch slapped with reality there.
It was, I mean, at the end of the day, it's fucking real advice, man.
Yeah, it's true. It's, everybody thinks they're special. I'm guilty of that. I'm not going to hide it. But I get reality checks every day I stream. Every day I'm on Discord. It's you gotta realize that you're not special. And you have to work to be special. You have to put in time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears and try to leap a little bit about that mediocrity. And that is just how it works. Get out of your comfort zone. Do shit that you're not used to. Do shit that you just want to do.
Yeah, and it sucks in this industry where you have to work super hard and be lucky.
Yeah. Connections, man. Like you said, connections is 80% of everything. Because connections will teach you how to make your content. For example, in my case, connections will get you on retweets, will get you on shout outs. For a lot of people, if they want to go pro, like just being good enough is not enough. Just being good isn't enough. You got to get that show match in. You got to get your name out there. You got to talk to people. You got to talk to streamers. You got to get in communities. You can't be an asshole. I mean, there are assholes out there in Rlcs, but they still got connections. Do you have anything to say to people that would like to go pro or would like to join a Sierra? Like, what is one tip that you think isn't been given enough? What is really important? Bro, I can hear the gears grinding.
I don't know. At the end of the day, just have fun with it. It's something that, once it started becoming more of a chore for me personally, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And you get burnt out so quickly if you're not doing it right. Like, don't overwork yourself, but at the same time, play enough to.
Yeah.
It's about find that balance, find your connections, and if you want to have any sort of shot, you're gonna have to sacrifice some things. Like
that shit hit close to home, bro. Fucking hell. You got my feelings. Shit.
Yeah. There's a good triangle that my friends told me way back in the day that I didn't think it was super real to now. But if you want to have either, a good social life, good grades, or do super well in your hobbies, you can't have all three. You have to give up at least one of them.
Yeah.
If you want to have any sort of success. And, part of my journey was, taking sacrifices in both school and social life. So, I could still have a little bit of both, but, I, especially with like the college experience is what the Americans like to say. I didn't have, your typical college experience. I didn't go out to parties. I didn't go out to, meet all these new people, connections in person. I made all these connections online, grinding Rocket League, grinding, games. And yeah, I got to the point where, it's just too much.
Yeah. Because it definitely is overwhelming. Like online relationships can be very overwhelming because it's like shit in person is just different. When you're outside with 2-3 people, 2-3 people. But you don't realize that you're talking to 10 people online. And when that 10 grows to 20 and all of them start messaging you every day, you're like, holy fucking shit, can y'all just shut the fuck up? Because there's no time limit basically on when people can message you online. They can send you a message 24/7. And it's right there when you get on it. But when I'm outside, you can't be on the other side of the city and talk to me like face to face. You know what I mean? It's very overwhelming until it's not overwhelming until it becomes overwhelming. And then you realize, holy shit, what the fuck's going on?
Right.
Because that's something I'm realizing as well personally. Because I've always been that person who's like, yo, listen, I'm different. I'm a different streamer. I'm a different content creator. This Discord is not a fan club. Hop in. We're just gonna have fun. And then over the last few weeks, that shit grew. You know what I mean? Like when I hop into a VC right now, and I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back or be like, yo, look how cool I am. It's like, it's a very good thing. I jump into VC, 4 or 5 people jump in instantly. And over a span of like 30 minutes, we got like 35, 40 people in there, which is really fucking cool. It's exactly what I want, but it can be very overwhelming. And people don't realize this because when they look at you, they see your results. They don't see the hard work. They don't see the shit that you've been through. They don't see the sacrifices. Same thing with me. When I hop in a VC, people want me to be me constantly. Like, I can't turn around and be like, hey, can you shut up for a second? Like, I just want to vibe. Can you please shut the fuck up for a second? And they're like, oh, well, Turk's being mean to me. And then when you underperform, you're like, oh, you didn't practice enough. It's like, motherfucker, I spent 120 hours. Can I just have a mistake? Can I make a fucking mistake? Like, can I have this mistake, please? Like, relax. That's where the saying comes from, isn't it? The grass is green on the other side.
Yeah.
Nuts. That's CRL shit. What's his success rate compared to like? Do you really think it can lead to a career within Rocket League in this stage?
No.
No, why not?
There, at least from what I've seen, there's very few people that are super successful, like the top team's undefeated in CRL. Even then, I've seen maybe one player go from CRL to RLCS, and he was mostly a sub, and now he's on. I don't even know if he's still playing, but if you know who Sharp is,
No.
he's kind of exactly. that
Yeah,
tells
but
everything.
I don't keep up with the pro scene. So Sharp, if
I
you're
don't know.
listening, I'm sorry, bro. I don't mean any disrespect.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player. But yeah, you don't see a lot of the correlation because at the end of the day, that even the top tier CRL to RLCS difference is still such a pretty big gap that there's other people not in college that probably are worth more for those spots.
I want you to reinforce what I've been telling people for years now. Can you please tell people the gap differences from Diamond to Champion, Champion to Grand Champ to SSL, SSL to Top 100, and then the fucking Pro? Like, can you try to explain people how big that gap is? Because people think that if you're SSL, you're decent. It's like, no, the fuck you're not. No, you're not.
No, like I like to think about it like, all right, sick, I reached SSL. Now I'm basically climbing the equivalent of fucking like Diamond to SSL again within SSL. It feels like it's just never, dude. You make SSL, congrats, you're the highest ranked in Rocket League. If that's what you want to do, you fucking did it, man. That in itself is a lot of work. But if you want to go somewhere in this game, prepare to grind another fucking 10 ranks, man. It's
because I always say like the difference between, for example, let's take the old Grand Champs, right? Before we had SSL, I'd always say like any rank up to Grand Champ is just you figuring out the basics. If you know the basics, you're Grand Champ. That still holds true today. If you know the basics, if you've mastered the basics, you're Grand Champ. It's impossible to be lower, right? And then the difference between Grand Champ and like, let's use the new ranks now, like Grand Champ to Grand Champ 2 is the equivalent of Champion 1 to Grand Champ. And then Grand Champ 2 to Grand Champ 3 is the equivalent of Diamond to Grand Champ. It's exponentially bigger and bigger and bigger. Even though you may not see it, the skill difference is there. And it's a shame because Psyonix could do something with this. Because they added the new ranks to basically all they did was add an emblem to something that we already did. Because we never said I'm Grand Champ. We said I'm 1600, 17, 18, 19. And now all they've done is grab those 17, 1800s and just attach the emblem to it. It's like, oh, look, all these new ranks. Like, no, it's still the same fucking system. Nothing's changed. Like, you just colored in the fucking... like, that's all you did. You did nothing.
Yeah.
Like, can we have something more? Can we have actual distinguish? What? Can we actually distinguish the skills? Like, how would you do it? Have you ever thought of that?
Not really. I've never really cared enough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just, if you're good, you're good. If not, fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm like the one person that like I never gave a shit about ranks. I didn't care to grind for it. When I had fun in this game, it was scrims, it was leagues, it was tournaments. That's where this game is fucking fun, man. When you're grinding with the team and you see progress within the team. Cool. I can have the dopamine satisfaction of hitting a new rank. Cool. It hits once. All right. Now what?
Yeah.
When you're getting these good results in tournaments, that shit never goes away.
No, it doesn't. I still remember my fucking shitty tournaments, bro. And like I said, I didn't even get anywhere close to be decent. And I still remember those things today. That sticks with you. One thing I really like is tables, right? So like within a league, we have point system, goals against, goals for. shit like that. That I love that type of shit because then you can get really technical.
It's funny you say that. We, with our league, this is tying back to our Minnesota league. We have pretty in-depth stats now, and like a stats program, so people can go in and see stats from previous seasons as well. So if you want to see like who had like the best shooting percentage in season 1, we have like all the data and we have the platform to display all that shit. So if you're interested, I'll share the link with you after if you want to take a look and share it around if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's something that we have a pretty good team working on, and we're getting to the point where we're able to query certain random shit like who had the most like cars bumped in X amount of games, or super just weird stats like who had the most who scored at least 1 goal a game over 100 games, like at least 100 games. So we had like our first player score at least 1 goal in 100 games across all of our seasons. So that's shit we're getting to the point where we can query. It's just random fucking things people want to know. It's super cool.
I love stats. I just don't know how to fucking work with them. So I'm sure there's some nerd out there listening and just screaming over what you just said. It's cool as shit. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love stats, but I just don't know how to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that we can get that nowadays, that we can actually make it public and be like, yo, hey, hear this, bro. Knock yourself out. That's dope. Love that. What does the future hold for Rocket League? Because a lot of people have been like, I don't really pay attention to Twitter. Because fuck Twitter. It's just an outlet for people to be assholes, But do you really think Rocket League is gonna die? Because that's what the talk's about, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, have you seen any of the news on Rocket League's moving to Unreal Engine 5 and compared to 3?
Yeah, I talked about it with Sam a little bit. I don't see why I should, but again, I'm not a developer. I don't code. I don't know anything. So
it basically, in the simplest way I can put it, it expands a lot of things they can add to the game.
Okay.
A lot of the limits on the game right now is limited by the engine they're using.
Like what?
So it's kind of hard to explain. But when you're like updating like a game, usually you get to add more things. And like I'll give like a simple example for, have you ever played Minecraft?
Yeah.
So with new updates to add like more blocks to work with, so you can like make cooler buildings. It's kind of limited by they don't have enough stuff to do things in Unreal 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a lot of limited by certain like physics engine stuff. Stuff's more like, I guess, clunky, I guess is the best way to put it. Where cluttered, clunky, stuff like that, yeah. Where Unreal 5 will kind of expand possibilities, and I'm not going to give science benefit of the doubt because they dropped the ball on a lot of things, so they could really fuck this up. But if they, make this work, it could be really well for Rocket League.
I really hope so, honestly. Like, as much shit as I give him, I've said this before, I'm going to keep saying it again, just the addition. The reason I give him so much shit is because I got passion for the game. Look, I enjoy what I do. I coach in my free time. I coach for a living. I stream for a living. Obviously, I want Rocket League to grow even bigger and more successful. Like, it's directly going to affect me. And yeah, it's the same fucking discussion every single time. It's like transparency. Tell us, man. Like, you can fuck up. It's fine, but let me know.
Yeah, that's the one thing that is really fucking over Psyonix, is their communication is so bad. Like, even within the pro scene, with the CRL scene, their communication is so bad. It's
isn't that one of the reasons why who was the guy? Was this Cloud9? Cloud9 that just fucked off. It was like, dude, you guys don't talk to us. That was one of the main reasons, wasn't it?
Yep.
What happened?
They just don't give companies, because orgs are companies at the end of the day. They don't give the orgs enough time to, acquire sponsorships. They don't give them enough time to do like photo shoots and branding stuff for these events because they don't give them the fucking information. And then, oh, by the way, RLCS 2 weeks. All right, let me just go fuck myself. I've been waiting here for fucking 3 months. And you tell 2 weeks away. Just fucking tell me 3 months ago that. All right, 3 months and 2 weeks. It's like Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's even like I love seeing that. When I was playing like competitively, like I was lucky enough to have a team that didn't want to just fucking drop members for one bad result. Because I stuck with my team for a while. But you see, all right, RLCS 2 weeks. I go on Twitter, LFT, looking for group LFT. It's like, bro, just stick with the fucking team, man. It's like, holy shit.
That was a discussion for a long time as well. It's like one of the reasons why Rocket League is not being taken serious is because we got people switching teams like fucking me switching socks. I was like, what are you doing? Where's the loyalty? Stick. Why the fuck are you able to change teams so fucking quickly? That shouldn't be an option.
Yeah, but like I understand if there's internal strife, like things happen, things don't work out. But when things don't work out with 6 different teams, like man, either you're the problem or you're just not giving enough time to grow.
Yeah, it's because I'm trying to remember. I read this. I think it was an article or it was a conversation I had. I can't remember what it was, but it was something along the lines of the reason why franchises and such are not interested in Rocket League is because there is no what's the right word? There's no people don't stick to one another. It's
so like longevity.
Longevity. Thank you. That's one of the reasons why franchises are not interested. And franchises give the biggest fucking money to whatever because they hold the biggest fucking money, right? It's. Do you think it's the problem because most professional players are very young?
Yeah, right? I think that's probably one of the bigger issues.
What's the age requirement for RLCS? 15?
15.
Should be 20. 21.
I could see it being 18.
18, 21, yeah. But 15? You're a kid, bro.
15 is definitely too young.
You don't want to. You don't even know what you want to eat in the evening. You know, like
you don't know what you're gonna fucking eat in the evening because your mom's cooking it for you.
yeah. It's. I get it. Like I'm not trying to be like, oh fuck these little kids. Men are talking. Look at it from an objective standpoint. Most 15-year-olds, like I was, don't have any fucking responsibility. Why would you? You can literally not turn on your computer and not suffer the consequences. No reason not to.
Yeah, I'd have to find the article or something or the YouTube video. But Scrubkilla has a really good talk on this with contract issues at such a young age.
Yeah.
Because when I was 15, I wasn't thinking about contracts and shit. Like, what the fuck's a contract? I'm just fucking going home to play fucking Black Ops 2 in my mom's basement. Like, it's actually crazy. Like, I could see them competing at that young of age, semi, because they have so much time to sink in the game. They're going to be good at the game.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like legality shit with contracts and like org stuff and
branding, marketing,
yeah, that shit's scary, dude.
Because I think I might be pulling this out of my ass, but I would like to assume that for kids, so anyone below the age of 18, if you want to promote them using their pictures or whatever, I'm sure you need like a approval legally written by their parents or whatever because they're minors. It's not just the parents. There's a bunch of fucking laws I think around that.
So there was issues when it's not as bad in America, unfortunately, but there's like child labor laws that Scrub had to start going through because he was playing so much at a young age and technically under like a company.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of like loopholes that the org had to go through and stuff.
Nuts. Isn't it? I mean, I'm trying to look at it from both ways because if you're Psyonix or any game developer and you want to promote esports, obviously you want the 15, 16, 17-year-olds because when a game is young, generally speaking, they get to devote most of their times on it, and they get to be the better players in the end, in the beginning. Sorry, but as I've mentioned before, I've always said the older the game gets, the older the pros get, because this is a fact that younger people generally grasp mechanics within a video game a lot better than 25, 30-year-olds. But after a while, once that mechanical ability has dropped down, basically, where everyone is able to do stuff, it's the mindset, it's the discipline, it's the adultness that really builds a pro. Do you think we're going to be able to see that in Rocket League? Because Rocket League's a pretty mechanical game.
I think so. Because I think at the end of the day, no matter how mechanical you are, you have to be smart at the game as well. You can't just like blindly be doing everything mechanically, especially with how mechanical your other like opponents are being. There's an element where you kind of have to start outsmarting your opponents and like thinking about the plays and just one layer of depth after another. I know a lot of people early on in esports careers, like they always argument, oh, you got like the boomer reaction time or like the old man reaction time. But then you're looking at some of these, I'll use like CSGO and Valorant, for example. Honestly, like the average pro age is a lot older than people care to admit. Because
what is it around in CSGO? What would you estimate that?
Mid-20s.
Mid-20s. Yeah, that's what that was my assumption as well for most games that are older, 25, 30-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, obviously there's going to be some, benefits to being a little bit younger, but at the end of the day, it's just whoever puts in the most amount of time.
Yeah. It is a career. It's an esport. It's a career now. Like, if you turned around 10 years ago and said, hey, I'm going to play video games for a living, they were like, all right, bro, you do that.
The fucking laughing stock of the fucking group.
Or just turn around, just tell them what I'm going to do, Oh, I'm going to tell people how to play a video game. What? Oh, the internet. It's like, okay, nut job.
Yeah, okay, you do you.
Yeah, good shit, buddy.
The fucking mom patronizing his kid. Oh yeah, that's great, honey. It's fucking. I want to be a firefighter.
Oh my god, fucking crazy shit, man. I love it though. I'm excited. Like a lot of people think that esports is at its peak. It's in its infancy, bro. Esports, it's
still so young,
super young. Like, we're starting to see colleges and universities having actual classes on esports and shit. Like that is mind-boggling. Like, can you imagine that? We just made a new job. I don't even know how to put it in words. I just don't know how to even say it. It's like we made a new job because we liked something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is definitely the generation that kind of pioneered the esports growth into something more mainstream for sure.
Yeah. It normalized a lot of stuff. It definitely did. Do you do drugs? Do you drink? What do you do? Everybody got something fucked up about them.
I don't do drugs. I drink occasionally, mostly when like I have friends over, but I don't solo drink. That's not my deal.
You're fucking lying, bro. Everybody got something fucked up. What do you do? Smell feet? You got to do something.
Oh yeah. The most fucked up thing is super into anime and stuff like that. So.
Oh really?
Big anime guy.
Oh my god. What's Dragon Ball though?
I watched a bit. I'll even expose myself a little bit. So there's this online crane game that you can play from your phone, but it's like an actual crane in Japan that
Get
you
the fuck
control.
out.
Yep. And if you win the item, it like actually sends you the item. So I'll expose myself a little bit.
Okay, that sounds actually pretty fucking cool. Not gonna lie. Okay, never mind.
No, there's like actual like cool shit. You can win like pillows and shit as well, but it's mostly like anime stuff. You can win like pillows and shit, like pillows based on like certain shows and stuff like this, or like just like plushies, stuff like that.
They're not pillows as in body shapes, right? Okay.
No, it's just like small ass like fucking like head pillows and like plushy shit like that.
Okay, you scared me a little bit, not gonna lie.
I'm sure there. I haven't looked hard enough, but I'm sure there are like body pillow stuff that you can get on there too, because people are into that.
Yeah, people.
I'm not, but
sure. I see something in the
yet.
I'm fucking with you. You watch Dragon Ball? Voice crack.
I watched it a while ago. I was never like super into it, but I definitely watched a bit of it.
Bro, I grew up with that shit, man. I really grew up with that shit. I didn't even know what anime was. And I think does that categorize as anime? Is Dragon Ball? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only anime I watch. But it's more of a nostalgic thing, and it's still like really fucking cool to me. Because whenever I go home from like when I was like a little Turk, I was like 8 or 9 years old, coming home from school like elementary, just put on like fucking Dragon Ball and just scream with them. It was really cool. That's cool. I miss those times. No responsibilities, no nothing. Just get home, watch TV, eat, just go to bed. Fuck.
Yeah, I am currently planning a trip to Japan with some friends after college, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's some cool culture shit too. And
yeah,
I've been spending I think around a month and a half, 2 months now, just like studying Japanese as well. Just because I feel like if you know someone's language when you go to visit them, it just opens up so many more possibilities, and I feel like it's so much more respectful to just show that you devoted some of your time to try to at least attempt to speak in someone's native language.
Yeah, but it's very easy to overdo it. That's the problem. It's a very thin line of what is respectful and what is what do you call it, a cultural appropriation or something?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind
of.
I
don't know all the fucking terms for that, but yeah, it's a cool thing, man. Honestly, I want to see Japan too. One of the reasons I'm not going is because I can't fucking sit still for more than 20 minutes. So me being on a plane for like 14 hours, like I'll probably put my head in the fucking toilet. Just fucking flushing.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, I mean, another reason that I'm so down to learn Japanese is I studied Mandarin for like 5-6 years just through school. Just because at least my middle school, they offered German, Spanish, and Mandarin. I was like, oh, Mandarin sounds cool.
Yeah.
And one of my friends was taking it. So I did Mandarin in middle school. And then I went to like a private high school. And then they didn't offer Mandarin for like the first 2 years, but then they added it the next, like my last 2 years. So I started it off and on. So I'm not like fluent or anything by any means, but there's with the Japanese language, there's like 2 main alphabets basically, and then they have a system where they combine those into different characters that they borrowed from the Mandarin characters.
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff means the same when you like look at it, but it's pronounced differently. So there's some stuff that fucks me up. But if I'm like reading a sentence, like, oh, I know what this means from Mandarin, I just don't know how to say it, but I can understand what the sentence means.
Like when I used to work in a phone shop, my boss was he's from Hong Kong, and they speak Cantonese.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I'm like, yo, can you teach me some swear words and shit like that? You know what I mean? And he'd say some, and I repeat it. He's like, no, you're saying a different word. It's like different tonation. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's the exact same thing. He's like, nah, bro, you're asking me about like fucking tangerines. You know what I mean? It's like, this is not. You're not telling me to fuck off. It's like, okay, like it's not a different language. Like for people who don't know, like Cantonese and Mandarin isn't necessarily a different language. It's more of a different dialect, but the dialect is in the tonation. So if I please correct me if I'm wrong, but Mandarin is usually more up and down in the tonation, and Cantonese is more straight in the tonation, right? Or is that the other way around?
No, I think you're correct. I honestly haven't studied Cantonese much. I've mostly done Mandarin. But at least from a character standpoint, if you ever have like go on like the translation, like Google Translate, and you see Chinese simplified and Chinese traditional. Traditional is basically Cantonese.
Yeah.
And then simplified is Mandarin.
Yeah.
So I don't know from a tone perspective with Cantonese, but yeah, in Mandarin there's 4 different tones. You have your straight line, your up, your down up, and then your down.
Yeah. It's really tricky, man. It's really, really tricky. It's like with most languages, if you learn the word and you know the meaning, you can just form like a sentence. But with Asian languages, it's completely different. Like knowing the word and the meaning is nothing. The tonation changes it. Like when you mentioned, for example, like 2-3 different alphabets in Japanese, it's like in Japanese, for example, if I remember correctly, when someone speaks to you, you can usually tell, like a foreigner, you can tell where they've learned it from because they're either speaking like an older person or like a different, like you can tell from the words they use. We have that in Turkish as well, for example. It's like the way we call each other, like for example, terms of endearment. Like friends with each other will say lan. It's like dude. But if you say that to someone who's older than you, it's like, whoa, who the fuck is this guy? Like, who the fuck are you talking to me like that? You can tell where someone has learned language from. It's funny.
Yeah, it's very interesting because especially in what I've been learning Japanese so far, they have a lot of different ways to say the same thing, but you have to say a certain thing based on who you're talking to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly like in ours, but yeah, Japanese does have that. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I think if there's it's been something that I've been getting more into, and it's been fun learning languages. But yeah, for anyone, my recommendation if you're learning some sort of Asian language, whether it be Mandarin or Japanese, mimic. Like if you're learning a word, say it hundreds of times and mimic what they're speaking to you. If you're having like a native teacher or a thing, because that's the best way you're going to learn tonations. Because especially if you're from like North America. Holy shit, I've listened to so many people try to speak Asian languages without like practicing tonations. And even for me, like I'm not fluent by any means, but I'm someone who like practice my tonations as much as I can. And it definitely irritates me sometimes when someone like just completely butchers a pronunciation or like definitely Americanize the pronunciation of some like either Mandarin, especially my Mandarin classes. I was always like, my teacher's like, oh, your tonation is like super good for at this level. And then, I have fucking dipshit number 1 sitting next to me just completely fucking butchering it. I was like, well, mimic my voice. He's like, oh. Yeah. I still remember my high school Mandarin class. The guy that sat next to me didn't give a shit in the world, just needed to take the language class and it was like basically like a basic Chinese class, and I still remembered all the shit from middle school because I basically took 3 years of Mandarin. So this like the first year of the Mandarin class in high school was just a simple breeze for me. It was basically just reinforcing what I had already known for the basics. So this guy's like looking over a test. I'm fucking done in like 10 seconds, and he's taken the entire hour to the point. The teacher's like, "Oh, he go sit over there," and he's like, "Oh fuck."
Like we have that, for example, with Turkish. Like, because I live in the Netherlands. Obviously, if you don't know, there's a lot of Turkish immigrants in Europe. We always take the piss out of the Turkish immigrants from Germany. Everybody, like in the Turkish community, everybody takes the piss out of the Turkish immigrants in Germany because they've this is a good thing, by the way, they've naturalized themselves to the country that they're living in, and it really reflects in the way they speak Turkish because it's just so fucking stupid. It's like when they start talking, you're like, oh my god, just shut the fuck up, just speak English or German, like, I'll figure it out, but please. It's like your grammar, your sentences are just make no fucking sense. Because what they're doing is, because they've grown up in Germany like over generations, they're building the sentence in their head in German and then literally translating every word into Turkish. And it's like, I know what you're saying, but it's pissing me the fuck off.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, at least when I want to learn Japanese, I'm like studying super hard. So like, I'm not just learning, the words for the one-to-one translation. I'm trying to learn the grammar structure. I'm trying to learn, the right particles. Because, I take like, respect, and especially with the language, very seriously, just coming from Mandarin, because respect's just a super big thing in Asian culture.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's something I'm trying to show technically we're Asian too. You know, we've come. Technically, we have an Asian culture. It's been mixed up over the last centuries, but respect is a big thing in our country, in our culture as well. And obviously, no disrespect to the Western people, but you guys have a different definition of respect. It's not that you guys are disrespectful. It's just you have a different definition, and sometimes those things collide. And you mostly see that with people like you who are interested in Asian cultures or languages that go there and then get culture shocked by how technically quote unquote mistreated they get because they have a complete different understanding of the word respect. It's it's very interesting. It's one of the reasons why I'm really interested in history and geography, languages. It's cool. It's very interesting. I love it. It's it's hard to put yourself in other people's shoes, and it's one of the key things in really appreciating a culture. Just being interested by it isn't enough. Would you say
Mhm.
that the best way to learn a language is to one of the best ways to learn a language is to expose yourself to that language, so music, movies, shit like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, any constant exposure, whether it be passive or active immersion, is definitely really good for learning a language. And depends how fast you want to do it. You know, if you're not interested in learning it in like a few months, then it at least as long as you're practicing at least once a day, just for a little bit, it's probably enough to get by for a while. If you want to
Yeah.
see some, if you want to see some short term benefits, definitely practice as much as you can. Immerse yourself in any kind of game content, any music content. So I listen to a lot of like J-pop and stuff like that, and I've been trying to switch some of my games to because I got to the point where I can read the alphabet. I don't
Oh
necessarily
shit.
know I don't know like necessarily like the terms. Like I can't put together and necessarily know what all the sentences mean. But I can read both what's called Hiragana and Katakana.
Japanese is read left to right, correct?
Depends.
What?
So you either do if the characters are aligned up and down like this, you read right to left. But if it's like this, then you read left
Oh.
to right.
Oh. So if it's vertically, you start top right, read to the bottom, and then
Yep.
go second
Yep.
row from right, and then oh shit. Okay.
Where it's been more normalized and more based because of like computer typing. Now it's a little bit more left to right on a straight line. But because of how they used to write, um, the letters and stuff like that, and way back before technology existed, they always did it up down, and that's how like if you're ever reading any kind of older books or any calligraphy stuff, people generally do right to left, up down.
Because modern Turkish is written from left to right, but if you go to like actual old Turkish, that's the same way. Because if I remember correctly, because I'm getting shit confused now, we used to write and read from right to left, and then the same as in Japanese. If it was written top down, we'd start top right to the bottom, and a second row from right, we read down again. Yeah. Okay. Again, Asian languages they just do it completely different.
Hmm.
Because we used to have like what the was it the Irish? Yeah, I think it was the Irish Gaelic, where they use symbols more rather than letters. That's kind of what we did. I think Koreans use more symbols. Like, would you call it a symbol or an alphabet? I think it's more a symbol. Korean.
Maybe I haven't studied Korean all that much, but it's I actually haven't looked into
'Cause
Korean, so I
I
actually
know
don't
they
know if
have
it's more.
symbols for like a house, a tree, and shit. It's like two, three lines together. I guess that's a definition of a symbol. I don't fucking
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
don't fucking
yeah. I don't know if Korean has an alphabet because how Japanese does it is you have your two main alphabets, and then sometimes those letters combine into a symbol, which is called kanji.
Okay.
Um, so you have something like, for example, G, which look a certain some way, but then based on the context, it could turn into a symbol. So it's pronounced the same way, but based on what the symbol looks like, that's like the It means
How
like
many
person.
letters are in what were the two alphabets again?
Hiragana and Katakana.
Okay. So how
So
many letters does hiragana have?
I would have to check. So because it's
Ish.
kind of weird.
Okay.
It basically you have your base thing. Your base like I'll call it a symbol, but it's basically like the letter. But then you can add a certain thing. So you add like 2 lines, and it changes the pronunciation from like G to B. And then you add a circle, then it adds G to P. But only certain letters can have the circle, and then only a lot of them can have the double line. But it's knowing the certain thing, and it's really hard to explain for the first time, because sometimes it's G for certain letters, and then a different word it goes from G to Z. So sa turns into za instead of ba, and yeah, it's really complex to explain in simple terms for someone who doesn't study it. Katakana is a bit easier because katakana is more of like the Americanized thing.
Latin.
So
okay.
It's more like the word sounds like what it sounds in like English, kind of. So like coffee is coffee, or kofi technically, kofi. So it's like the words sound pretty similar to what it would in English.
Okay, bro. Honestly, you lost me. This is just too much fucking information. Let's switch the topic. Let's get back to video games.
For sure.
What do you play? What is it, just Rocket League nowadays, or something else?
So with my group of friends, competitively,
yeah,
mostly still Rocket League, just with my personal league, but yeah, pretty much just Rocket League. A little bit of Valorant here and there. We're starting up. So with our like Minnesota Rocket League, it's fun to say 20 times in a row. We're expanding to Valorant now as well. We had someone who's interested in Valorant reached out to us, and we're now kind of using our platform as well as kind of his start to kind of combine the two. So now we'll have MNCS Rocket League and MNCS Valorant. So if we want to call that competitively, I'll probably like play in that as well. So that's like for sure competitive. But at the end of the day, I don't have strive to compete at a high level in any games anymore.
Look, I'm not very interested in Valorant. I'm not very interested in CS:GO. For me, they're all the same. I think Valorant is like a mixture between Overwatch and CS:GO. What makes Valorant so fucking special to people? What is different about it?
So, from my experience playing both CS and both Valorant makes things a bit easier for new players, in my opinion. The overall like intro like gun mechanics and like how the feel of the game is a bit smoother, and it's a bit like the learning curve is a lot less high at the beginning, because CS really like throws you into it, because you don't have easy to place utility in CS:GO. You have to like learn lineups, you have to know like where to flash, when to nade, stuff like that. You don't have it like kind of gifted to you where there's certain characters, you're playing a certain character, what your role is. If you're playing a character called Brimstone who's like smokes, you literally like pulls out like a tablet, and you can like literally just click where you want the smoke to go. You don't have to worry about any goddamn lineups or anything like that. So it's a lot easier for like the lower competitive scene.
Okay, so it's more of, for lack of a better term, it's more dumbed down. Okay. You see that a lot nowadays in video games, where they have to dumb down shit. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but
I feel like at this point, a lot, especially with technology, I feel like people's attention spans are so much lower than they used to be.
Oh my god, tell me about it.
Because I feel like if you make a game too hard at the beginning, people are going to just lose interest. Like, oh, I'm not good. People are so entitled these days. Like, they want to feel good at the game. Like, people don't want to work hard for anything these days, it feels like.
No. It's just...
So I feel like
I see that with coaching, man. It's fucking incredible. People turn around and be like, yeah, but I practiced this mechanic for 200 hours. I should be able to do it. Look, no, the fuck you're not. What are you talking about? The fuck's... No, you need to do it correctly. You need to practice it correctly. I don't care how long you spend on it. No, fuck off.
Yeah, especially people always like to turn like hours into things like, oh, I practiced for 200 hours. Yeah, but if you're not practicing the right way, you just wasted 200 hours.
True. It's this. I'm done like giving examples of it. I just go with it at this point. It's like, oh, you got 1,000 hours for that? Okay, good on you, bro.
Yeah, the saying that I always lived by was practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah. It's a lot of entitlement about everything nowadays. A lot of entitlement. A lot of people. How do I word this? Don't get me wrong, but there's this society pressure where we have to protect everyone from everything, which obviously, if you say it like that, makes sense. We should do that, but we're going a little bit overboard with it, I think. We're not protecting people anymore. We're handing shit out, and it's like, is it really worth it? Like, do we really have like? Easiest thing I can say right now is to make people understand where I'm coming from. Is, do grand champs need a title? Like, do you really need a title? Have you actually achieved something? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that you didn't, but just as an example, do you really like participation awards and shit, like bronze decals? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You played 10 games. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's more of like a marketing strategy at this point with how society is. People always want gratitude. People always want confirmation and stuff like that.
I don't know. Like, maybe I'm probably wrong. You know, I'm probably just being a fucking asshole again. But
I get where you're coming from, though.
It feels weird. You know what I mean? It's where we have to be like, oh, don't hurt her feelings. Oh, make sure he doesn't feel bad about that. Oh, but he feels like it's okay to feel a certain type of way. I don't understand why. Negative feelings is okay too.
It like experiences like that just help you grow. Like, as long as you're taking the right experiences from things, like I love my mother to death, but I felt like I was coddled and babied too much. Like, I feel like I was given too much. Like, I'm at the point where in my life it's like, I want to work for things. I don't want help. I want to like, feel accomplished. I want to, do things on my own.
Yeah. It's but the thing also is like nowadays, our generation, hard work doesn't always pay off anymore. Like in the generation of our parents or grandparents, hard work usually paid off. That was kind of like the sweet spot with the generations. Where you had the economic boom after World War II. You had the 60s, 70s, where shit started really good to grow. And now we've hit this weird path where even if you give it your everything, there's a big chance that you might end up with less than you had when you started. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. It's scary.
Yeah, there's a lot more risks.
Yeah.
If you want to, do something.
Take your college, for example. You start with debt. Who the fuck wants to start with debt? How does that make sense?
Yeah. Especially when people go to college. Like, I'm thankful enough because I'm going into a degree that pays well out of college.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about my debt because, at the end of the day, with my internship experience right now, I'm confident enough that I'll get a job and be able to pay off debt, 3 to 5 years with the right plan. But there's people that, go to college for very risky degrees such as art and stuff. Like, you just spent. I see. My thing with philosophy is if you tie it together with something else good, like if you're doing philosophy by itself, go fuck yourself. You're not going to do anything. But if you're tying philosophy with something else, I feel like it adds actually some good benefits because it definitely depth. I like that. Yeah, it makes you think because people want good problem solvers, and I feel like philosophy allows you to think in a much different way. At least from my few philosophy, I'm not majoring or minoring in philosophy, but for some of my like we had to take like general education classes that aren't particularly in our major just to have like general experience. And I took a lot of philosophy classes because I thought they're interesting. And yeah, it allows you to think and force yourself to think in a different way. And it's stuff like that I appreciate that I was able to take it. Wouldn't want to major in it, but definitely.
Yeah, it's like I'm not dismissing fucking philosophy. You know what I mean? Philosophy is a huge fucking subject, and it's definitely something the world needs. I'm not against philosophy, but if you go to college and you go like, I'm a major in philosophy and a minor in fucking arts, it's like, why didn't you just shoot yourself before you started college? It's like it's easier to do that. It's like chase your dreams, but also be a little bit realistic.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't.
Yeah. I feel like if you want to have that to work out, you got to start the groundwork before college. Like if you're trying to start that shit in college, you're going to have a rough awakening.
Have a backup plan. Have something to fall back on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why when I was competing in Rocket League, I was still attending college because like there's very huge chance that I was going to make nowhere. And here I am. I made it nowhere. But the connections I made along the way, and like the people that I met, and the experience I get, wouldn't regret it. But at the end of the day, have the experience or have the backup plan.
Can you really say that you haven't gotten anything? Because I think you're being a little bit dismissive. I mean, sure, I don't know everything, but I'm sure you can still grow this. It's still in its infancy, bro. State stuff, the CRL stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah, in that point, but I'm more talking about like playing at like a professional level where in the state stuff like this. Yeah, I mean, I'll still go at this, but I'm more talking about like the connections and stuff I made trying to go professional in this game. I had a backup plan. Still attending classes, passing. That's don't go to college just to fail. You're just wasting your time and wasting your money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah.
You definitely have a backup plan. Like Reese is a good example. He made sure that his finances were in order. He made sure that he was getting good grades. And then he was fortunate enough to take a year out, take a year off of school, and then focus on Rocket League. It's not that you can give up everything, dedicate everything to something that you want, and because you have sacrificed so much, it's guaranteed. It's not like, oh, you've sacrificed this much, now your chance of success are 80%. It's not like that. Make sure you have a backup. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now that want to go pro in Rocket League, for example, or Valorant, or want to have a successful career. Have a backup plan. Please, just be logical. It's nuts. Cal, what's good, man? You sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, I just woke up. Well, oh shit, it's 11. Oh my god. Well, I've been awake for 2 hours. I have my coffee, but
coffee's overrated.
Well, I disagree. But
I love coffee. I fucking love coffee. I just don't want people to drink it. I want to have it all. You go to Starbucks?
Yeah. No, I have my own coffee maker.
Man, I ordered one Frappuccino once, and now everybody's making fun of me. I didn't even know what it was. It sounded delicious. I didn't know it was fucking watered down coffee with ice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I never wanted to go to like coffee shop when I started drinking coffee. My dad had had the actual beans, and he grinded down the beans and then sifted it through the shit. That shit's good shit.
Do you like Southern American beans or Arabian beans?
I'm more of a fan of the Arabian beans.
Hell yeah, that's more strong. That's more. I call them more coffee-like. Southern American ones just taste almost fruity. It's weird.
Yeah.
Got a weird taste to it. I had I forgot the fucking name. It was blue tangerine or whatever the fuck it was called. It was from Madagascar or Ethiopia, whatever. Yeah, I'd rather drink sewage water. It was so fucking bad. Oh my fucking god! I'll never have that again. Because I bought one of those. What do you call them? French presses,
Hmm.
and it's a really good way to make coffee. Like it's really, really. It tastes so much better than your filter coffee or your pads or your Starbucks or whatever. I'd really recommend that to people. The French press is really cheap. It's like $10, I think. And then like the coffee, it depends obviously which one you want. It's a really good way to get your coffee in the morning. Tried that and I was like, nah, fuck that. Fuck that. Disgusting. Oh, Cal. You want to slowly wrap it up because I know you got a very tight schedule.
Yeah, I got fucking homework galore today, so get to have fun doing schoolwork all day.
Well, I'm happy you made time for me, man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I was glad you wanted me, so.
Hell, honestly, right now, like I've had the same feeling with 2-3 other people. I would love to have you again, man.
Yeah, this is fun.
Oh yeah, that's what it's about. You got any socials? Anything else you want to promote? Like maybe your CRL, maybe the state stuff. Where can people find it?
Yeah, I'll just promote my state stuff. So if you're interested, I'll send you the link if it was well. But I think it's just MN Championship Series. Twitter real quick. But yeah, we stream all of our games Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We've been on a couple week break for allow students to go to college and stuff and get settled in and stuff. Make sure they're all moved in, and then we're starting up this upcoming next week again. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday on Twitch, MN Championship Series. All of our ranks are generally champ and higher for the most part. So if you want to watch me play, I'll be playing on Saturday. Our team
Can you give exact dates? Because the release date of the podcast is obviously not known. So when you say next week,
you're right. So we're starting back up the 16th, 17th, and 18th of September, and then we'll be going up until December, and we'll have our LAN finals in late December. I think the 18th. Let me double check that. But yeah, our LAN, the 18th, I believe. So we'll have that streamed as well if you want to see the only Rocket League LANs going on right now.
If you can just send me the links, I'll put it in the description as well for the YouTube viewers.
Will do.
And they can just use everything there. All right. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for making time for me.
Thanks for having me.
Cal, ladies and gentlemen.